Welcome in Brett Goode to the conversation, former Razorback, former Packer. Brett, we will get to some NFL conversation coming up, but I do want to touch on first Arkansas's rushing attack versus Texas A&M's defense. 11 rushing touchdowns for the Hogs in the first 3 games. Texas A&M is 86 in allowing, 162 yards per game on the ground. Is that the key one way or another in this football game?
I think so, and I think that's the key week in, week out, especially with the offensive and defensive line. Everything starts up front, but for us to run the RPOs and get everything flowing with our offense, we've got to be able to run the football. And we've kind of seen over the last 2 years with this offense, we go 3 and out, we're punting. If we can kind of get some momentum and get some things going, we end up, moving the ball down the field and get close to scoring or scoring. So that's huge for our offense to get that rhythm going, and it all starts with running the football. If you can run the football, you can get the rhythm. You can help with the time management, and we need to do that. If we get a lead, you definitely got to be able to run the football for the clock management to put the game away. You get so many times you've seen over the years we played this game and we didn't handle the clock management right, or it goes across the board with special teams. But if you run the football just consistently down the field, you just have to get a few yards, keep it in bounds, and just run it down the throat. And you set that tempo, it'll pay off in the second half, and just you got to stick with that kind of philosophy.
Special teams have killed Arkansas in this Texas A&M series as of late, but I'll tell you something else. It's giving up big pass plays late in these games. Now, Arkansas to this point has only given up, I believe, 1 passing touchdown in 3 games. But if you go back and look at this series, there's a couple times where late in the fourth quarter, Arkansas gives up a big, long passing play or a passing touchdown for that matter. After watching this secondary to the first 3 games, how are they going to handle Jalen Wademeyer and Zac Caldwell, who's now going to be suiting up at quarterback?
Again, I think you kind of throw the first 3 games out. What we've done, it's going to be a different ballgame. We're moving into the SEC play, and we know that their offense is explosive. We know that they can make big plays. They're obviously ranked high for a reason for preseason, and they've continued to do that now in the regular season. So we're going to have to just go out there and play our game. We've got to get a defensive pass rush. We've got to, our down linemen have got to, get to the quarterback. We've seen our linebackers be able to make tackles because our defensive line's up there, and they're taking care of that offensive line. They're hitting their gaps. They're staying committed to what the defense is called. That's one of the big things when you get into these games like this. Is people trying to do their own thing. You've got to be committed for all 11 to be committed on that defensive call. And so far we've shown that, and I think if we continue to do that and get a pass rush, I think there's going to be some opportunities for some interceptions.
So
when those come, we've got to be able to catch that.
So you're talking about putting pressure on Nick Calzada and getting to the hitting the quarterback. What's the best way for Barry Odom, who's had a good track record of making opposing quarterbacks uncomfortable, confused? What do you think the best game plan is for Odom this week to accomplish just that? Because that has been one of Barry Odom's calling cards is really making veteran and particularly young quarterbacks uneasy in the pocket.
Agreed. And one thing, he can just be himself. He's consistent with his play calling. He knows what he's doing. I know he's going to have a good game plan. He's going to throw a few wrinkles in there. But we remember back to Texas. He confused them in the pocket there. We were able to get pressure, and again, it's about hitting those gaps. And if you hit your gaps in the defensive line and keep them off your linebackers, those linebackers can make the tackles on the running backs, and that starts opening it up for the DBs to be able to pick some balls off and get some time to make something happen. And that's what you've got to do in this game. And you've got to do it for 4 quarters. You can't just come out in the first quarter and something go wrong and change your game plan. You've got to just be consistent, and Odom has done that consistently through his tenure here at Arkansas, and hopefully he can just continue to do that this week.
And talking about Zac Calzada, how do you get a guy like this ready for an SEC game when he's prepared all camp long as the backup? And this would be similar to Malik Hornsby coming in. Can you be ready for this moment against Arkansas, who's a program on the rise? Jimbo Fisher, this offense, what steps do you go through with just really one start under your belt against New Mexico to have your quarterback ready to open SEC play?
It's a tough deal, but the mindset of next man up, that's the nature of football. People understand that. They're going to get them as prepared as they can. Teammates are going to be having their back. All the receivers and running backs and linemen, they're having extra meetings this week to talk about, certain checks and make sure they get everything that they need, every detail down. for the communication key, because that's going to be key in a game like this where you're going to have, Jerry World's going to be crowded on both sides of the ball. It's going to be a good game. And so you've got to just go in there, and he's going to be himself. And he obviously got recruited for a reason. He's a good quarterback. He's shown that. But this is a bigger moment than he's prepared for, but he's ready for it, because as a backup, you're always trying to beat out the starter. You're trying to be ready. You're trying to be mentally prepared. You're taking reps each week. And now when your time comes, you've got to go out there and try and prove it. And I think that they're going to be everything they can to protect him. You look at a lot of young quarterbacks around the league, and then in college they try to protect him and maybe not put him in a situation until they have to. So, obviously that means they're going to try and run the ball and take some pressure off of him. So it'll be up to Arkansas to kind of stop that and make him beat us with his arm and see what happens.
Brett, I want to shift the conversation towards the National Football League. Tom Brady has started out on a tear to this point. He gets older and just keeps getting better. What have you thought about his performance through the first 2 games of the season?
It's magical. I mean, it really is. We never have seen anybody what Tom has done. To win the many Super Bowls that he has, playing as old as he is at a high level, his offense is phenomenal. He's got weapons everywhere, and then he's backed up by a defense and a special teams that's top 5 in the league, it seems like. And so you see them go out there, and they're doing it with ease, and it's crazy to watch. But again, the NFL is such a long season. We're 2 games into a 17-game season. The first time we've had 17 games. What are they picking too soon? We've seen Tom Brady in this offense before. They were slow last year, and they kind of peaked towards the end. They obviously won the Super Bowl. Well, now are they picking too soon? It's hard to tell. They seem to be flowing with Bruce Arians. So it'll be interesting as we kind of move on and see, teams kind of pick up some tendencies from Tampa Bay, and then when they start dealing with some injuries along the way, how they perform.
Aaron Rodgers is one of the guys that he gets compared to, current NFL quarterback, and he bounced back in a big way. And it wasn't just him, it was Aaron Jones with 4 touchdowns. And I know Aaron had some fun in the post-game press conference saying people like to make up a lot of BS, and he took some pride with how his team defeated the Detroit Lions. I mean, after what you saw on Monday night, are there any red flags with this Green Bay team moving forward the rest of the season?
I think so. I mean, you look at the first half, and they didn't really protect Aaron a whole lot. And they each had 3 series off of Detroit and Green Bay, and you had two scores and 2 punts from each team, or a punt each. And so, it was really a fist fight there. And then, Green Bay kind of came out in the second half and really outperformed Detroit. But Green Bay's defense has been bad. And we talked about Arkansas's pass rush on the quarterback. I mean, Jared Goff had all day to throw. So they've got to get consistency of getting on that quarterback. You can't give a quarterback over 3 seconds to throw the football in the National Football League, where those windows are so tight. You can see Aaron, and when he threw it to Tanya and the tight end across the middle, he just barely threw it over the guy's arm. That's that window in the NFL. But when you give a guy 3 seconds or more, they're going to pick apart a defense. And so their defense has to pick it up. Their offense has to get more consistency. Even their special teams, their field position is not great. And when they had a good return, they had a holding call and really got it called back. So they've got a lot of improvement to go. They're 1-1, and like Aaron said, I mean, it's a long season. You break this out by quarters. We're in the first quarter of the football season, and they're just trying to keep building that momentum and really find the identity of this football team.
Former Razorback and Green Bay Packer Brett Goode with us here on the Morning Rush. We've been focused a lot this week on the A&M game, but hey, it's never too early to think about 2022, and we got the schedule for next year for the Razorbacks. I know you've had a chance to peek at it and look it over, starting with Cincinnati. Tough road schedule as usual in the SEC, but a non-conference game at BYU, 3 games early, 3 games late at home. Alabama and LSU coming here. What are your thoughts on the 2022 schedule that features Cincinnati, BYU, and Liberty as non-conference opponents?
Every year, I think our schedule just gets tougher, and I think that's just the nature of everything going on. But it's going to be nice to, we're building this football program, and we kind of see the momentum, Coach Pittman and his staff has done right now. There's a lot of excitement around it. And so now, obviously, you're going to be excited to have Alabama and LSU, and then we're going to be able to play at BYU and get to, do some things that we haven't done in the past in a long time with some of these teams. So, it's an exciting time. I know that the football players and the coaches aren't thinking about it right now, but as a fan, you should be excited where the football program's going, and you should support them because you want a good product on the field. You've got to pay. We've got to pay for these guys to do it, especially with this NIL and coaching around the league of guys getting paid more for quality for programs. And if that's what we want, we're finally going to get that on the field, especially for our home schedule. It's going to be one of our better home schedules that we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I understand why the SEC does this to get the schedules out early, but we got 9 games still to focus on this year, so it kind of gets lost, and we don't know what the rest of the season is going to play out like, obviously. But I just wonder at this point how much enthusiasm and how much conversation having Cincinnati out the gate is going to create in our state. Are people going to say, hey, we better be ready to go, we got Cincinnati, or is just because Cincinnati's a ranked team and they're not a named team, so to speak, going to get people's attention? Brett, that's one thing I find interesting is what the offseason will be like, and it's cart way in front of horse, but Cincinnati's no pushover, a highly ranked team, and they're your first game next year.
And you're right. They are no pushover. They're a great football team. And that's one of the things that if you look at a lot of teams, they play these games and they kind of sneak up on people. And Cincinnati has done that a lot. They've consistently snuck up on people. And I wouldn't say they would be sneaking up on Arkansas. I'd put both programs pretty evenly from what we've seen over the past, or Cincinnati even a little bit above for the history that they've had, especially over the last few years. So you've got to take them seriously. You've got to be ready for them. And I think this coaching staff, I think they'll get the players ready at that point. I don't see us coming out and not being prepared for a game like that. So it's one of those things that if they're on the schedule, you've got to be ready for them. And really, it's going to be a good quality win if you go out there and beat them.
All right, Brett Goode with us here every Wednesday on the Morning Rush. He's part of the team at Henderson Phillips. If you're the HR person or a small business owner, someone looking to improve your benefits for your employees at work, whether it's health insurance, retirement plans, group life, dental, vision, Brett, you've got great programs that people can call you about right now.
That's right. We got all kinds of programs. We work with multiple carriers. We work with three main carriers for medical in the state, and then we also work for all your ancillary products. And you just got to make sure that they're all competing against each other, that you get the best rate.
All right, so give Brett a call. You can call him directly. We'll just give out your cell phone number. 651-2292 is your number. That's directly to Brett. 479-651-2292. Call or text that number. Brett, have a good Wednesday, and we'll talk to you next week about what happened in Arlington and a look ahead at the next game against Georgia.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back to start another football season. And as always, BetOnline is your #1 spot for all the college and pro football action this season. With a new updated site and interface and even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the #1 source for everything college football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 100% welcome bonus. That's double your initial deposit just for signing up. Don't forget to use the promo code NFL100. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.